Hi, this is Tom Herzmann with Oakridge Real Estate. Here with my real estate talk with Tom today, and I'll introduce my guests here.
Alan with National Property Inspections.
All right, Alan, can you tell us a little more about radon?
Yes, radon comes from uranium, and the half-life of uranium is 1,000,000 years. When it decays down to radon, it's in the form of 222, and that is harmful to our lungs and needs to be mitigated.
Okay, so with that, how does radon? How does that gas affect us?
So it comes in from under the floor through the basement walls. So it is an odorless, non-visual, tasteless gas that comes up through the floor.
Okay, how do you test for radon?
So the house must be closed for 12 hours prior to the test. Then we come in and we set a continuous radon monitor. It is set for 48 hours, and we pick that up and we get our result. Anything above 4.0 picocurie in a real estate transaction is where the mitigation level starts. And then if you're doing home testing outside of a real estate transaction, we are going to anything above 8 picocuries is where the EPA would recommend mitigation. If you fall between 4 and 8, the EPA would require you to do a second test, and we take the result of both tests and we average that out, and that would be your level.
So with that test, is that the home test, like somebody that's not licensed that
Right.
would be due? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so we use a continuous monitor, radon monitor, and we get results in 48 hours. The homeowner can use a charcoal test, set that up according to the instructions, and then they'll send that to a lab, and then they'll have that. The lab will analyze it and send it back to them with their result.
Okay. So what's the main difference between having a license test like you do versus the charcoal at home test?
Okay, so we have the training, and we're licensed by the state of Iowa to perform radon testing. And the charcoal test would be something you'd go to the health department or the
Hardware store or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you would get that test, and you would set it up, keep your house closed for 12 hours and do the test according to the instructions, and then you send that to a lab, and they'll analyze your result and tell you what, what action you should take. So the continuous monitor is a quicker form, and we can get those results in 48 hours, and that's how that works for us.
Okay. So how is your machine certified to be accurate results?
So all these machines are licensed with the state, and then we have a chain of custody log that we have to fill out every time we use the machine. And then we do cross testing as our control method every 10 times when we use these machines with another piece of equipment. And then once a year, these are sent out to New York, and they are put in a radon chamber, and they're calibrated. And if they don't pass, they have to be repaired, or if they pass, and we're good to use them for one more year. So, and that's all part of my state licensing requirements. So we do all those steps to make sure we have an accurate reading.
Okay. What else should we know about radon, and then also go into the maybe talk a little bit about the mitigation, the next step after. What do we do with the results?
Sure. So when we get that result, the EPA would tell you that if you're above 4 picocurie in a real estate transaction is your action level. But if you're just doing a home test, then if you're in that 4 to 8 range, then they would tell you to do another test and average. If you're above 8 picocuries, doing a charcoal test, and that's where the EPA just says go ahead and mitigate. So the mitigation part is another group of guys that have a license to mitigate. So they come in and they're going to seal up all the sump pump and the floor drains, and then they're gonna install a suction point underneath the concrete floor, and they put a fan into that system, and then that exit pipe will be above your gutter, so we're dispersing that radon gas above the gutter line. So then the fan runs 24 hours a day, and it typically lowers your radon level to 1 picocurie or below. We never get rid of all of it, so you always have to live with some of that.
Okay. What is the concern with radon gas? I mean, the long-term exposure. Why should we be concerned about that?
So radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, and pets and people can get that due to exposure. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Not quite.
That's okay. Anything else you want to tell everybody about radon and why they should test for it?
Okay. Yeah. So our testing shows that about 8 out of 10 homes have elevated levels of radon above the 4 picocurie threshold. So it's good to get that testing done and to see what level you're at, and it helps if you mitigate lowering your chances of getting lung cancer from radon gas.
Okay. And so how can people get a hold of you, and you want to tell them about what your special is to get testing done this month?
Sure. We have some discounts. It's National Awareness Month for radon, so you can contact National Property Inspections at 800-259-7957. We can schedule you a test, and it'll take 2 days. You just have to keep your house closed up for 12 hours prior to the test, and then for 48 hours we'll take those readings, and normal entry exit into the home will be okay, and then normal use of fans like bath fans and stuff is acceptable. Use of air conditioner is fine. You just need to keep the windows and the doors closed for the majority of this test.
Okay. All right. I want to thank Al for his time and all his great information, and join me next time, Real Estate Talk with Tom, and we'll talk more. Thanks.